An F&M MP defends Picewell Forbes. A former aspirant for Mr. Forbes' constituency chimes in, and a local political party urges Prime Minister Minnis to ring the bell. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Wednesday, March 3rd. A Free National Movement Member of Parliament coming to the defense of Progressive Liberal Party Member of Parliament for Mangrove Key, South and Central Andros, Picewell Forbes. Before he contributed to the mid-year budget debate, Yamacraw MP Ellsworth Johnson spent a considerable amount of time speaking of Mr. Forbes, who is one of his constituents as he resides in the Yamacraw area. You see, on Monday, the Central and South Andros MP announced in the lower chamber that he would not be offering himself for re-election. Following his announcement there, he told reporters in the foyer of the House that he believed that he did not have the support of his party leaders, adding that questions were constantly asked of him by persons in the constituency if he was still running, and being made aware that the PLP were putting other persons on the ground against him. Now, the PLP leader, Philip Davis, told a local daily that Mr. Forbes' nomination was never in doubt, while Mr. Johnson had this to say about the matter.
To murder an innocent man like this, when all you had to do is stand up and say, "This my man! This my man!" Everybody gets back up. And then to get on the television station and say, and don't let him speak for you, Exuma. Settle it. He shouldn't be going from house to house and finding out the different people calling. It ain't right to him, and it ain't right to other people. It ain't right to him, and it ain't right to other people. And South Andros deserves an apology. And I pray that he finds it in his heart to forgive him. And all leaders have to be there. If you don't want people, you know you don't want them, let them know. Let them know.
Referring to Mr. Forbes as honorable, committed, loyal, and a friend, Mr. Johnson says he told the opposition leader that he should be fair with the MP.
I do recall when this matter first came, I stood on this very same floor and I said to the member of Cat Island, who is not here today, strangely enough, that listen, this is a committed and loyal gentleman. Whenever their attack was on Cat Island, he would jump to his feet. He would put himself, and Pine Ridge is agreeing, put himself in the way and block the fiery spears or darts that were heading toward Cat Island. So I said to him right there, I said, this is an honorable man. This is a faithful man. You can't be going back and forth. What is the deal with him? And it wasn't my business, you know, because that's my cousin and I love him too. But what is the deal? Be fair with him. And he said to me in the presence of everything is okay.
Mr. Forbes left the lower chamber on Monday to a standing ovation. The youngest daughter of former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pindling says she's disappointed by the way MP for Mangrove, South and Central Andros Picewell Forbes retired from the House of Assembly last week. Though she admits she's not privy to the inner workings of the Progressive Liberal Party, Ms. Pindling says in an interview with JCN News that she was sure Mr. Forbes had the party's support. Now, as far as her chances go for securing the nomination, Ms. Pindling said that the party's leadership told her that it did not want a Pindling on the ticket a few weeks ago on Love 97's Issues of the Day talk show. Asked if there's a possibility of running for independent, she says this.
Right now, I'm not thinking of anything right now. What I can say is the primary thing to me and the focus for me is that the people of South Andros and Central Andros, Mangrove Key, their voices are heard. They get and are allowed the opportunity to select the candidate that they want that will be best to represent them. That is my primary focus.
Ms. Pindling assures that Mr. Forbes' decision has nothing to do with her, as she was out of the running for the nomination 6 months ago. Since their rollout in August of 2020, dash cameras for police officers on the front line have made almost 4,000 recordings. This according to Minister of National Security Marvin Dames during his contribution to the debate on the mid-year budget this morning.
To date, almost 4,000 recordings have occurred with the dash camera technology. So it proves that it is working, Mr. Speaker. We are a government of transparency. One request was made for footage to aid in a police complaint and one request to aid in a police investigation. These investments are worth every single dollar as they bring about a greater degree of accountability, improve the transparency of the police force, and it mitigates against any complaints against police officers.
According to Minister Dames, to date, there has been a procurement of 200 body-worn cameras and 200 dashboard cameras. These systems are attached to officers in the mobile unit, the flying squad, and the rapid response unit.
To date, 120 body-worn cameras have been deployed in operational command and 20 at the Cable Beach Police Station. The remaining 80 are being upgraded with the necessary specs while officer training is ongoing. And these technologies are being supported, Mr. Speaker, by policy that governs its use. Mr. Speaker, for the DASCAM, 18 have been fully installed and the remaining systems are awaiting vehicular upgrades and training before they can be added to the arsenal of police technology.
Minister Dames continued that the government of the Bahamas has remained committed to the Royal Bahamas Police Force and its efforts to tackle crime by investing in technology that is serving the Bahamian public. The Bahamas taxicab unions holding firm in their efforts to voice their concerns as members took to Parliament Square for the second time in protest. The unlawful use of taxi plates and an infringement on their business by rental car owners is the main bone of contention, according to Union President Wesley Ferguson. You see, after a moratorium on taxi plates was lifted back in 2019, Mr. Ferguson says the government assured taxi drivers that the issues within the industry would be addressed. Fast forward 2 years later, Mr. Ferguson says the union's still waiting for one promise to be fulfilled.
Not a single soul, not a single soul. They are playing this game where if we ignore you, you will go away. But see, they don't know the Bahamas Taxicab Union. We are not to be ignored. We are not going away. We will be here every week until election, until we vote them out if they don't fulfill the promise. If we don't get our promises from this government, we'll get it from the next one.
Fast forward 2 years later, Mr. Ferguson says the union's still waiting for one promise to be fulfilled. Mr. Ferguson adds that the government has all of the information needed to move ahead with this process. However, for some reason, it's kicking the proverbial can down the street, using the COVID-19 pandemic as an excuse.
COVID-19 is not an excuse. It doesn't take any amount of money, a minimum amount of money, for the government to give out in fact, the government stands to gain by giving out taxi plates right now because that's new business license. That's more taxi drivers who have to pay for the driver's license, the public service badge. That's more money in the kitty because taxi drivers have to be re-licensed. They have to get new insurance. All of this is not being taken into consideration. So it does. The government, even if the government pays some money, they issue taxi plates, they revamp their money right away before the next license period.
Asked what's the union's next step, Mr. Ferguson says this.
I don't get political, but on this occasion, I will inform taxi drivers, I will instruct them not to re-elect this government. Okay, I will instruct them not to do that. Now, they can do what they feel like doing because I can't control them once they get in the ballot box. But the whole point is, we are 1125 strong. We have family members and we have influence in other unions. So we will garnish together with other unions and we will come out here in full force and we will persuade our people. We will basically instruct them not to vote for this government because they mean us no good. You hear what Prime Minister said the other day? Next time, he's going to look out for poor people. Next election, next season. So that he said clearly that he did not look out for the poor Bahamian people in this term that he just served.
Attempts to call Transport Minister Dion Folks was unsuccessful up to news time. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.